Hello, fellow guitar geeks. I get to play a lot of guitars. I'm very, very lucky, and this year alone I've played probably between 300 and 400 guitar-shaped instruments. And that does mean that sometimes the excitement and the novelty can go out of picking up a guitar. And then, once in a blue moon, a guitar, or sometimes two guitars, will jump out at being a little bit extra special and having a little bit more TLC than others you've played recently. And that is 100% the case with these Cozy guitars. It is not often that I get to say this, but these two guitars, if I grab the second one, these two guitars are the best feeling, best setup guitars I have played in a very long time. That being said though, they're not quite perfect, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. Kauffman Guitars are a regular guitar shop that stock high-end instruments in the Netherlands. And a few years ago, they started building their own instruments that were inspired by models and brands that we all know and love. So they had their own versions of the Strat, of the Telly, of the Les Paul, and they also look like fantastic guitars, but I haven't played them. They build the guitars in-house in the Netherlands, they set them up in the shop, and they ship them from the shop all over Europe, and I guess the world, I would hope. But not comfortable in making just Strats, Tellys and Les Pauls and all the rest of it, they wanted to build something that was truly their own. So this is the first original design from Kauffman Guitars, the Cozy. Albert and Paul at Kauffman Guitars wanted to take everything they'd learned from building other people's designs and put that knowledge into something new that they could call their own. They wanted something big but light. They wanted something offset, but comfortable to play. So they took their original ideas to Eric Smit of Smitty Guitars, another boutique brand in Europe. So Eric added some basic design guitar principles to their original ideas, and they were able to build their first prototype. And then eventually we have this. Well, not just this, because the Cozy is not one guitar configuration. There are currently 5 iterations of the Cozy available. This one is the VB, the vibrato one, with the P90 and the humbucker, and this one is the one based very clearly on the ES335 model from Gibson. However, if you like what you see generally, but the configuration is not exactly what you dreamed of, I'm fairly sure that Kauffman Guitars will be able to accommodate your needs. And if you want to know more about the history of the Cozy, Kauffman Guitars made a fantastic little mockumentary about the fake history. Well, fake seems an unfair word. Let's call it make-believe. They wanted to pretend that this was a forgotten model from Europe from the 60s, and they went to the trouble of making this documentary or mockumentary and mocked up some photos of famous artists playing these guitars way back in the 60s, and then it seems like Kurt Cobain discovered another instead of discovering the Jaguar and the strange Epiphone models that he played before Nirvana hit. They very clearly just didn't want to build any old guitar. They wanted to build something that could have been made in the 60s, but now modernized with modern technology. Let's talk specs. I'll do the blue one first, followed by the red one, in no particular order, because I still can't decide which one is my favourite. Let's start with the woods. We've got a paulownia body, we've got a roasted maple neck. Look at that neck, it smells gorgeous. We've also got an Indian rosewood fretboard, which is one of the nicest pieces of Indian rosewood I've ever seen in my life. This finish is called Scuba Dive Deep Blue Sparkle, and it is absolutely gorgeous. One of my favourite finishes I've ever seen. It's got a light TTT, which you might wonder what that means. It means time travel treatment, so a light amount of relicking. The thing is with this finish is it is already starting to wear a little bit. So this is one of those guitars that is going to age absolutely beautifully and quickly. And I've seen some of their more relict, more time travel treated guitars with more wear over here and up here. But this, if you play it for a short while, like I've been doing, it will start to show signs of wear very, very quickly. The pickups are from Cream Tea in the UK, just like me. The humbucker at the bridge is the Eliminator, and the P90 at the neck is the Duke. And what I like about these two pickups is that they're very, very well balanced. And in the sound samples you hear when I flip from pickup to pickup, you can hear that not one jumps out and not one fades away. They're very well matched. Electronics-wise, we've got a master volume and master tone on this one with a three-way switch and an aluminium pickguard, which is absolutely beautiful to the touch. Very hard to film, but looks absolutely stunning with this finish. I'm truly in awe of this guitar finish. The neck feels like a kind of modern C, so there's plenty of it, but not too much of it. It should be a fairly universal, pleasing feel, which doesn't always make me happy because I like big, thick, chunky necks, but this is absolutely so playable. I don't even think about the neck. And the finish on that is silky smooth. I could sleep in that texture. If I could sleep on sheets made of texture just like this neck, I would be a very, very refreshed little guitar geek. And finally, I guess the fretboard radius is coming in at 10 inches, which is somewhere in between modern and vintage feeling. It makes chords easy, it makes lead playing easy. It's a beautiful guitar to play. I dig it hard. This is the Cozy CB, and every time I switch from one Cozy to the other, that little spark of excitement happens again. And I know that I said at the beginning of the video that sometimes when I play new guitars, I don't get that excited, or when I'm playing another Strat copy or another Telly copy or another Strat or another Telly for that matter. But with these Cozys, when I switch between the two models, I'm just pointing at the blue one there, I fall in love again, and that is something to be said. And I really don't know which one is my favourite. We're looking at also a Paulownia body with also a quarter sawn roasted maple neck and an Indian rosewood fretboard. This has binding on the front, nothing on the back, which I think is classy. Already this red finish, which is 335 Cherry Red, is again starting to wear, and I've taken really good care of these guitars, and they're starting to show relic already, which I think is beautiful. And also, the colour, man. This is one of my favourite reds I've ever seen on a guitar. And every time I switch to this, I think I love it more than the blue one, but then I play the blue one again and I think I love that more. It's a hard thing falling in love with a guitar, as I tell you. The pickups are again from Cream Tea. We've got a BFG banger in the bridge and a BFG banger in the neck. And then we've got master volume, master tone, but a Telly style three-way switch, which I dig hard. I think the way that they've married together the Telly and the 335 and this offset shape just fits so well. Take enough stuff, put it together, and you've got something new. And also the neck is once again so silky, soft and smooth. And both guitars have Gotoh tuners and a Gotoh Tunematic, and this has a Gotoh stop tail. Finally, let's see just how heavy they are, because they feel like some of the lightest guitars I've ever played. So, turning that on, popping the red one on the scales when it reaches 0 is 2.8 kilograms or 6.2 pounds. And the blue one should be heavier because of that 𝗬𝗔𝗥𝗡 trem. Is coming at only 200 grams more at 3 kilograms or 6.6 pounds, which is nothing for a guitar. In fact, let's compare that to my Telecaster, which is also what I feel is a light guitar. Actually, it suddenly doesn't feel so light. All right, pop that back to kilos and take it off. Exactly 3 kilos. That's very pleasing for my OCD. My Telly is coming in at 3.4 kilos or 7.5 pounds. Now that's another expensive custom shop guitar, so let's compare it to something a little bit more affordable. This is my tiny little Squier Bullet Mustang. They are 130-40 euros, very inexpensive guitars, and that is coming in at 6.6 pounds or 3 kilograms, so the same weight as the blue one. And if I pick both up, you'll see the size difference is almost incomparable. It's hard to see because the black one is black, but look how small that one is compared to the big old Cozy. And yet they weigh exactly the same. The fact that these are exactly the same weight makes me really happy. Let's just test the balance by putting it on a strap and seeing if that headstock slips. This is the 𝗬𝗅𝗍 locking strap. So it's quite slippery here, but it's got a little bit of sort of rubberized silicone stuff here, which might ruin the test, but it's pretty well balanced. I mean, if I was playing that... Let's just turn the amp on. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's nicely balanced. I wonder how much that trem is helping. Let's try the CB. Okay, we are on. We're cooking. That's without... Oh no, let's try without the cable first. That's without the cable. It's quite low, and that one is tending a little bit more to do a neck dive, but nowhere near like with this SG at all. There's no neck dive for real want. It is still extremely comfy. Let's put the cable in and play it. It's so much fun. As I said, every time I pick it up, every time I pick either of these guitars up, I want to just keep playing, and that is saying something. So I'm convinced that there is minimal neck dive on both models, and both models are extremely light to play. And as a person with a bad back, that's very, very welcome. So, review time. Let's start with looks, which of course is the first thing us guitar players consider when buying a guitar. Color, shape, name on headstock. Name on headstock, Kauffman guitars. New, boutique, still weird enough to be very, very cool, but not weird and cool enough to be mainstream. So if that appeals to you, that's something. Resale value could be an issue there because not many people have heard of Kauffman guitars yet, but I am thinking, and I'm pretty sure in this, that in the future this is one of those guitar brands that people are going to wish they bought now. Looks, right, the blue. I can only really review this one and the red one because that's what I've got in my hands. If you don't like sparkle finish, you're not going to like this. But there are the same kind of color guitars without the sparkle finish available. I dig it hard. There is a kind of 3D look to it and feel. As I said, the Indian rosewood fretboard is one of the darkest and most pleasant fretboards I've ever seen in my life. The roasted maple neck, which is darkened on the back, is one of the best necks I've ever played in my life. One problem I think we might have is that the headstock is very, very Fender inspired, and I'm not sure how long Kauffman guitars can get away with that. I don't have a problem with it, but maybe there'll be a bit of a hook in the future. I don't know. As it currently is, that's very, very Fender inspired. What else? I like the light relicking. I love the aluminium scratch plate. That is something that you might have seen just a white scratch plate or a black scratch plate on other models. Just realised I didn't check for push-pull. That doesn't have a push-pull. Oh, please don't have a push... Ah, the red one's got a push-pull. All right, I need to find out what that does. But let's carry on with the review. Oh, damn it. I've done it again. Right, the 𝗬𝗘𝗏 Trem is brilliant. It works superbly, which is surprising because there's actually a problem with this guitar. Because I think it looks so great, it took me an embarrassingly long time to see this. I noticed that when you were playing, you would get some really weird resonant tones off here, and I think it needs a string tree. But then I found something else. And that problem is just here. If you look at where the trem is situated, this is in the center, but that E string is actually sitting in the plastic washer of the trem system. So this whole trem system needs to be a few millimeters that way. And currently, that's faulty, and the string shouldn't be underneath that plastic washer. It should be on this piece of metal. It is causing some issues with the sound. It isn't causing that many issues with the playability, which is weird, but that trem system needs to be shifted downwards a little bit. And until it is, this guitar is actually faulty, which is weird, because I still love it. Let's move on to the looks of the red one. I'm going to be very clear when I say this, so listen carefully. Gibson need to be looking at Kauffman guitars to get the colour of their cherry red ES335s anywhere near as sexy looking as this. This is, without a doubt, one of the most beautiful guitars I've ever set my eyes upon. The finish is so thin, as I said in the video already, it's starting to relic, but it's thin in a way that this red seems to pop, and I have no idea how they've made it pop. It's kind of like when Fender do their candy apple red and they put a metal color underneath the red first to make that shine through. I don't know what the finishing guys have done here, but they've done an absolutely stellar job. It is a classy red without being too bright, but it's bright enough to actually pop and being so plain. The 335 look just absolutely fits, and setting this tele control panel in there works a lot better than some of us purists would want to believe. The colouring of the back of the neck is absolutely gorgeous. I know we don't really look at the back of the neck, but the feel, you can feel that it looks like that. Does that make sense? And I love the black headstock. The black matching the black pickguard just absolutely sets it off. If that was just wooden, like it is on the blue one, I don't think this would be such a beautiful guitar. I will explore this push-pull in a minute. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten, because I need to talk to you about something else. This guitar is also not perfect. Let me show you. We have a little bit too much of a gap between the neck and the body there, which is kind of hard to see. And again, it is kind of forgivable because I love this guitar so much, but I think that might put a few of you off. And for those of you that think I'm being too picky, these guitars cost between 2,500 and 3,000 euros currently. So it is definitely not a thing that I can let go, but certainly a thing I can forgive for the sounds and the playability and the pure looks. I can forgive all the faults that I've found on both guitars, which is odd, because I might be picking apart a 300 euro guitar for having a bit of a dodgy scratch plate or something like that. Anyway, there's more if you look at the joint just here. So take a look at the neck joint. It's not perfect. It could be and probably should be better for the money, but it definitely doesn't have a negative effect on either the playability or, from what I can hear, the tone. It still sounds and plays wonderful. but I'm not finished. To be fair, I'm not sure if this is relicking or a mistake, but there are some tool marks here that haven't quite been sanded out. You can't quite feel them, but it doesn't feel as nice as the rest of the neck. Again, I don't know if this is intentional because there is a time travel treatment, a relic on this guitar. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be there, but it does irk me a little bit. That's odd, it doesn't seem to be doing anything to the bridge pickup. Seems to be making it duller. I honestly don't know what it's doing. It's not written on the spec sheet, so visit Kauffman Guitars and ask for yourself. It certainly makes it sound different. Not worse, not better, just different. I think if you're a fan of Fender guitars, you're going to feel very at home like this. Sitting with it, because of the scale length being a Fender scale length, and the body being all curved and cut away there, it feels kind of Jazzmaster-y, but but more comfortable than a Jazzmaster because it's not as heavy. So the fact that it has this shape and the fact that it has very little weight to it lends itself to being a very comfortable guitar, which is what Kauffman guitars were aiming for, and I can say they have achieved it. I've been playing these guitars on my couch, and normally when I sit on my couch or my sofa, depending on where you come from, when I sit on the sofa at night and play guitar, I used to say, which guitar am I going to play on the sofa tonight? And then since I've had these on loan, I've said, which Kauffman Cozy am I going to play on the sofa tonight? And that is not me saying that for the purpose of the video. Honestly, it's more than a couch guitar, but this is a perfect guitar for cuddling up with on a cold winter's night when you're all lonely and you need to play some pentatonic blues. So yeah, it's not a cheap guitar. These guitars are costing between 2,500 and 3,000 euros or thereabouts. But if you have the big guitars in your collection already, this is definitely something you should be looking at. Or if you just want to be a little bit weird or buy something that I think in the future is going to be worth more money than it is now, eventually, maybe invest in a Cozy. Regardless, because of the different models of Cozy available, you should go to the website, have a look, and see which one tickles your pickle the most. And no, I still can't decide which one I prefer. The blue one or the red one. This is just so comfortable. I think everybody in their life should at one point hold and cuddle a Cozy. Honestly, I wish I could make this video last longer because then I get to play these guitars longer. It's a shame. I have to send them back. I don't want to, but they are going back. And I've already had them since Guitar Summit, which is 2 months now. Ooh, okay, so Kauffman Guitars, link in the video description. I highly recommend you go and check them out. If you go to Guitar Summit next year, I hope they'll be there so that you can get your hands on them. But be careful, once you do, you might need to stump up the cash. They really are that good. I hope this video made your day an even better one than it was to begin with. And if it did, please consider leaving a thumbs up to say thanks. And that is the end of this video, which means you are in the end of the video club. And to prove that you are a member of this prestigious elite, when you leave me a comment down below telling me which Cozy you prefer, please also include the phrase, "I'd quite like to cuddle that." And that will let me know that you watched this part of the video, and I can have a good chuckle at everybody writing that, and YouTube will thank me for more people engaging with the video. Thanks for doing that. Cheers. Right, subscribe button down there, videos over there if you want them, but I hope your day is filled with guitars and music. Cheerio!